Yeah, let's go.
All right. So I'm a spectator when it comes to these things. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. If you were not here yesterday, please make sure to go back and watch the recording. I believe that what we did yesterday was one of the most important skills that you will have to have in actually working with people going forward. And before we get into live prospecting, I just want to give everyone a recap. The best way to add more value to people is by saying no to the people that don't deserve your time, energy, and resources. I'm going to say that again. The best way to add more value to people is by starting off by saying no to the people that don't, that should not have your time, money, and resources, right? Because the reality is there's only so much time in every day. And excuse me, I was talking with someone on a coaching call yesterday, and they have all of this stuff going well, right? And they're like, the crazy thing is where their hyper focus is on one client who's legitimately an alcoholic that blacks out, that doesn't remember things, and doesn't see the value in what they do, right? And that's human nature. And you have to become present and understand how your brain is wired, right? Because if you don't understand who you are, how you think, how you process information, you can never really get ahead. On top of that, you can't ever really understand how to manage yourself, right? If you know certain things are trigger events and will put you into a bad space for the rest of the day, you need to avoid those conversations and people like they are the plague. Make sense? Right? If somebody's coughing today, would you go near them? No, right? So if somebody is going to be a detractor in your life, why would you ever even want to talk to them? Like, you should see a flashing sign with some people that just say danger. You know, what was really interesting was there was a period of my life where I was going through making changes. And instead of everyone's last name, I'd leave their last name and I'd write good energy or bad energy, right? And then I would notice, like, who's contacting me? Are these people have good energy or bad energy, right? So even though your client, write good client, bad client, and see if you get more good clients and more bad clients. So that is just something to think about. And that is a quick recap from yesterday. So we're doing live prospecting today. Right now, the way this all works is we all have to do something, right? And my commitment is whatever you need help with in terms of reach out, connecting, reconnecting, you can ask me a question and I'll put the message and the answer in the chat so everyone can do it. So who has a question? Today's not a day about listening. You have no idea how thankful I am and grateful. And I love the fact that you all show up here and want to listen to me every day. But today's about doing. It's about hitting the buttons. It's about picking up the phone. It's about sending out a video message. It's about doing something. So let me share this message I got from Equinox. And I think this is a great message to send out to somebody. So the message said, "Hi, Chirag, this is Lucy from Equinox. Just want to see if there's anything I can assist you with to make your experience the best it can be." Then she sent me another one. "Hi, Chirag, this is Lucy from Equinox. Hope you're doing well. Since you joined a few days ago, let me know if there's anything I can do to make this experience better." So you can reach out to a client and I could say, "Hey, Mark, it's Chirag from Compass. I really appreciate the opportunity to represent you in the sale of your home. I wanted to see if there's anything I can do to make this experience better." Do you think anyone's not going to like getting a message like that? So here's a key nugget to take away in this. Create the conversation you want other people to have about you. Brooke, I'm going to text you this message so you can put it in the chat for everyone, and you could just change the name to blank for everybody. Can we all send a client that text right now? So two things happen. Well, three things happen. Number one, and this is a precursor, not one of the three things, so I'm sorry, four. The first thing that happens is people are shocked, right? What's the number one complaint that people have about their real estate agent? I never hear from them. So when I go back to, Yuri, we're going to put the message in the chat. Just give Brooke a second to type it up. So if you think about this logically, I never hear from my agent. I'm sitting at a group of, I'm sitting at a happy hour with my friends. I'm sitting at dinner. I'm talking to my family. I'm talking to a work colleague. I'm like, you know what? Wayne Miller, my realtor, sent me the weirdest message. Really? What'd they send you? He asked me if there's anything I could do to make my experience better. And if the other person has a realtor, like, great, I never really even hear from my realtor. This kind of stuff works really well. So this is, Susie, go ahead, type in the chat. What do you got?
So my question is, and that was a great point. I love that. Do we apply that as well to our buyers? Because we tend to have a lot more buyers with no inventory.
And if people don't answer, they don't answer. It doesn't make a difference. You still sent the message. So here's the thing, Susie, send this to the buyers that are qualified, right? Like the people you're enjoying working with, the people that aren't like moving isn't a must, don't send them this message, right? Because they're not even realistic to begin with. They're going to write you an Aladdin Disney wish. That's what they're going to give you. Well, to make this experience better, and if you do this with the wrong people, it's going to bring negativity to your day. So I'm happy you asked that.
Okay, thank you.
So Natalia, what's really interesting about this is if people don't answer, it doesn't mean that they don't care. It doesn't mean they don't get it. People send me a lot of messages that I can't respond to all of them, or my whole life would be doing that, right? I tell people there was a gentleman that came to my parents' house to redo their roof. The gentleman worked at Home Depot. I was a real estate agent at the time, so my dad made me sit at all the meetings. The thing you don't know about my parents, many of you is my dad wants the whole informational process. He wants the whole presentation. He wants to have a conversation. And everyone that ends up coming to our house, ends up doing work there, ends up eating dinner with us, because my dad would do this in the evening after he worked. This guy had 3 meals with my family. They had 3 meals. They cooked them tea. He'd come by in the morning. Every indication, like my mom's like cooking him food. He's there till 10, 11 o'clock. And I'm like, I have stuff to do. I can't sit here anymore. Like, please, like, I want to go. Right. So if you're that person and you've come there to somebody's home 3 times and 1 time for breakfast, and each time they're 3-4 hour events and they made you feel like the family, do you think that person's going to buy from you? Absolutely. Right. My dad did not answer this guy's phone calls for then the next 3 months because my dad was busy. He's like, I have a family, I have a business. So finally the guy just kept calling and leaving a message, calling, leaving a message, calling, leaving a message. Right. And one day my dad called him back and the guy comes to our house. And, you know, he said, my dad to bring the paperwork. He waited till all the paperwork was signed, smart on his part. And he goes, Shah, I have to ask you this. I was so sure that you didn't want to work with me anymore. He goes, I called. He's like, no, you know, Daniel, I've really appreciated all those messages. It showed that you're really good at following up. I told you I met 3 other people besides you. You're the only one that ate dinner at our house because we liked you the most, but no one even followed up with us. And so in the end, my dad said, I'm busy, but I appreciate all those touches. Remember, you're giving somebody a touch point because you care, not because you expect a response. At what point do your clients lose, archive them? After how many non-responses do you move on and delete versus continue to send? Well, if they're your client, they're going to eventually respond to you. Right. And that goes to understanding what your communication styles, what your client's preferences are. So has anyone ever showed you guys how to extend a relationship so your clients expect to hear from you going forward? Hit yes or no in the chat box. Huh. Okay. So this is a good golden nugget. This is a Chirag Shah special here. So before we do this, everyone has to take one action, then I'll give you the nugget you want. So I kind of set you guys up just a little bit. So once you've taken your proactive action, whether it's sending a text message, sending an email, sending a video message, you have to do one thing here today. Right? And when you do your one thing, write it down, put it in the chat, And when we start getting some momentum here, I'm going to go through how to extend your relationship. If you want to write somebody a handwritten note, you can go to Robert's handwritten note library and write out a handwritten note right now. Something. We all have to do something on Tuesdays. Because remember, if you do this over the course of a year, you'll do it 40 some odd times. I love you, Margie. Always a doer there in Boston. Fun fact, that's where our next event is going to be, in Boston. So I'm very actively looking to nail down a venue. Wayne Miller, I'll see you in San Diego in a few weeks. So that will be great. And hopefully we will do our fall event on the West Coast this year. So at some point we have to make it out west. Sent a Valentine's Day video message. Wendy, you should join us. It's Rory and I are doing a presentation for Compass there. So bulk email. Is anyone stuck that needs help with something to send or do? Please let me know so I can help you. All right, Lisa, unmute yourself.
Hi.
Well, it just got weird. Why are you stuck?
I have a really difficult buyer. Then I have buyers that I saw yesterday that it would be weird if I texted, sent that. And then
So if you saw buyers yesterday, send them a recap email.
Okay.
Right? So if you showed buyers property, you could say, here's a recap. We saw this property and this was your feedback. We saw this property. This was your feedback. These are some of the questions and stuff that you had that I'll get back to you and stuff like that. Let me know if I missed anything and what, and then, some path forward, right? Every time you work with a buyer, you need to send them a recap email. That's real customer service. Remember, if they're just going and touring properties with you, and there's no recap email, there's no anything, and they have to remember everything on their own, why wouldn't they just go to the listing agent for every property?
Yeah.
Cool?
Okay. Yeah.
All right, good. Who else said they were stuck? I saw another one here. Susie, you're a doer. What do you got going on over there? Unmute yourself.
Hi, Chirag.
Hello, why are you stuck?
Well, two reasons. One, I'm not very good at switching screens, so I'm not able to see you and then get into my CRM. And
so leave me, abandon me, and go to your CRM and then come back.
I can't leave you, Chirag. And then the other is just knowing what one thing to do, because I'm working in transactions and then trying to get new business, and I'm sort of not.
Listen, if you're working in transactions, find one that's going well, and send them that text that I just sent you. Say, I really appreciate the opportunity of working with your family and finding your next home. I just want to take a moment to see if there's anything I can do to make this experience better for you.
Okay, perfect. I will do that. Thank you.
You're welcome. By the way, just so all of you know, these same things we share with you, don't be surprised when somebody on my team contacts you and says the same thing. Alexa is calling all of the people in our 10 by 10 group and having very similar very similar questions, right? We have 3 questions, and Alexa will add this on as the 4th, saying, Chirag just wanted to take a moment to ask, is there anything that we could do to make your experience better for you during the 10 by 10? Simple, right? People will tell you what they want, right? This is like the best form of feedback. Scenario question, perfect. James Anderson, what do you got? If you're very friendly with a fellow elementary school parent who wants to move, you serve together on committees and teams, and your kids are on the same team, but they can't find a place. The wife used to babysit the agent that was trying to get them to sell, but that agent dramatically underpriced, and they kind of knew it. Do you send them an unrequested CMA?
Hi, Susie.
So here's the question. So I guess, James, I'm going to unmute James Anderson. Where's James Anderson? Hold on. Let me find you here in the. All right, James, I just asked to meet you. Where are you, buddy?
Right here.
All right.
Sorry. Or do you do something else?
Well, look, it's an unsolicited CMA, right? And are they contractually in an agreement with that realtor?
No.
Okay. And have they shared their frustrations with you?
Frustration would be strong. That they've been looking for a single family in Boston, in South Boston, and they live in a condo now. They wanted to sell. They got a little discouraged by the process because of the inventory and the price of their place today. So they just sort of put it on hold. They felt obliged to this other agent at the time because of that relationship. But I don't think they feel like, she necessarily had their best interest fully.
So look, in doing this, always coming from a place of contribution, I do like a quick video CMA, right? And I'd say, hey, it's James from Compass. I'm just, in an effort for contribution and doing what I love, I picked 10 people that I want to reach out to and just give them an idea of what their home's worth. Home prices last year went up $6 trillion in equity for homeowners. So I found this a fun way to share some love after Valentine's Day, and then go through a quick CMA. Say, I hope you find this information helpful. And this is the key in doing it and not sounding salesy. No need to respond. I just felt that this would be good information to share. When you say no need to respond, it takes all of this stuff away. So like during Thanksgiving, right, we would send these gratitude messages out to people. It'd say, hey, James, just want to take the time to wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving. We really appreciate the time, energy, and love that you show up with every day and wanting to make yourself, your family's life, and your client's life ultimately better. No need to respond. I know you're really busy, but just want to send this quick note. Hope to connect soon. Every person writes back, right? I would do this as an agent. I'd be like, no need to respond. And everyone would write back. Right? Because when it's no need to respond, people start thinking, well, should I respond? Like, am I a jerk if I don't respond? I know he said no need, but like you really start playing with people's heads, right? So Matt said, text them to get coffee or lunch. Maddie B in the house. Take them to coffee, get face-to-face, call out what you're doing when you meet with them. Say, hey, this is a very, very real estate broker like me, and not trying to be a broker to you, but I'm very concerned that you're not getting them represented correctly. I want to help you. Right. So look, you're getting different collaboration here, and now take the parts you want and do it. But for everyone that's stuck and feels that some message can be conveyed as salesy, just end the message with no need to respond. I just wanted to share this with you. Is that helpful, James? All right, good. What else do we have? Sent a video to a prospective seller. Great. All right, so let's take the last few minutes and go through extending the relationship. So in our lives, we categorize the relationships we have the same way we would separate clothes, right? Like you could think of a pair of sweatpants as something you wear when you go relax. You could look at a work shirt and be like, I wear this, you know, when I have presentations, right? People associate things with certain places, things, and scenarios. So the same thing happens in life. It's called neuroassociation. So your brain connects one thing to another, right? So the example I use is when I lived in Westchester, and when I first moved to Connecticut, pre-pandemic, I would go to Lifetime Fitness, right? It's like a beautiful gym. It's like a country club minus golf. And I would get there for 4:15 and I'd work out at 4:30 every morning. So I had a group of like 10 people I knew there that I saw every single day. We interacted together. It was like a nice little group, little family. However, in my brain, every one of those people it's like 4 a.m. friends, right? Like I can text these people at 4 o'clock in the morning. They're all awake. They'd all answer. However, it was very hard for me to ever remember what any of these people did for a living. Like my buddy, John Guttridge, I didn't know that he was like an awesome real estate lawyer. He had a real estate department. He did divorces, right? And then their group of my other friends there, it was very hard for me to remember. And I started thinking about this. Why is it so hard? Because that's how I associate them, right? So what happens to all of us is during the transaction, you associate your clients as being your clients at that time. Very important here. You associate those people and that relationship as a defined time relationship. Your clients associate you with being in their transaction as a defined time relationship. So you ever hear like after like, or whatever, I'm just going to use this example. You have two people that know each other in a certain sense. They're friends, right? They drink a lot of wine one night, something happens, and the next day it's weird, right? Because that's not how they associate with each other. So their relationship is defined how they knew each other as friends. And that's when it gets weird, right? Now, the same thing happens with your clients. After the closing happens, what's the relationship? It gets weird. All of a sudden, you as an agent that would call, email, text these people every single day about their life, you're their therapist, they tell you about their kids, they tell you about their job, they complain to you every day about everything. All of a sudden, the closing happens and it's like Cinderella, the clock hits midnight and everything just dissipates. I asked you, hey, just give these people a call. Well, what do you want me to say? I don't know. What the hell did you say a week ago? Oh, a week ago we were in the deal. And I was like, okay, but did you only talk about the deal? No, of course not. So why is it like that? And this goes back to what I said in the beginning. You have to understand how your brain works and other people's brain works to make actual real business decisions in real estate. So what you need to do is redefine the relationship, right? And if you redefine the relationship, if you're talking with somebody and you enjoy them, right? Call, email, text them weekly. That is a relationship, correct? Now, if you talk to that person once a month, isn't that kind of called like a friendship or an ongoing relationship? Right? So I would say something simply like this. Hey, Iris, I really appreciate the opportunity of working together and the fact that you shared blank, right? Insert something personal that's a lot more than real estate. I really appreciate your relationship, this relationship. And I wanted to ask you a question. And they would say, yeah, sure. No, we appreciate working with you. It's great. Like blah, blah, blah. Would it be okay if I continued to stay in touch with you, shared things about the community, provided helpful information? We believe in being an ongoing concierge in this community as we've lived here forever. And that, we might stay in touch, reach out approximately once a month. Would that be okay? Oh, of course that would be okay. We would love to hear from you, and all that information would really be helpful. By the way, every person that's sitting here says, what happens if they say no? That's great. You don't have to waste your time calling, emailing, texting them, or sending them gifts and being like, how come they didn't get back to me? Because you never asked, right? Some people just don't want to be contacted. Pretty simple, right? Every person for the most part says yes. And then when you email them, call them, you have framed the conversation that you're going to have when we hear from you once a month. We want to be your ongoing concierge in the community. Remember the 3 parts of the transaction: before, during, and after. We've already lost before. We've already lost during. What you do after somebody moves is your competitive advantage in real estate. Make sense? So make sure you're properly extending your relationships. Questions, comments, or concerns? Yes, it's called make your own. Set up, set up a reminder to reach out to these people once a month, right? There's a thing called overlays at banks on loans. Those are additional conditions than Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae put on a loan, right? Don't put overlays on yourself. Okay, Abby, where are you? Let me unmute yourself. Let's see. I want to answer this before we go.
I think I'm unmuted.
Abby?
Can you hear me? Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you. So why is this causing you so much stress? And what do you mean you can't say no till after?
So they're in a post occupancy where they haven't been able to move into their house yet. And the sellers that they bought the house from haven't found a home yet. And they did get under contract and then they backed out, and the listing agent just has very poor communication. Well, so now she's the buyer's agent. And so I'm just kind of having to make up these, I'm telling them whatever I can. Listen, I don't have any information. I don't have any information. The listing agent or the seller's, the previous owner's agent, she got them into her client then into a post occupancy, which then overlapped and didn't align with our addendum. And it's just, I feel like I'm the only one really communicating, and I'm having to make them happy, and then I can't get the listing agent to answer. So then that's frustrating me, but they're just really angry, and they call me every day. Why haven't you called me? Why haven't you given me an answer?
So ready? Here's what I'm going to tell you. And the one thing you're going to say, I want to be able to help you as much as I can, and say that I'm going to talk to my broker and see what's the best, or my manager about this.
I have a call today with an attorney for them.
Exactly. This is a legal matter, and I'd be very careful what you say. Be like, listen, at this point, this is a legal agreement. It's a legal post-possession occupancy agreement, right? Yeah. You should be able to enforce whatever's in the contract that you signed. I don't know where the hell their attorney is or what state you're in, but I would have them speak with a lawyer and say that I am happy to help you any way I can, but I also don't want to misguide you. This is a legal matter, and let's talk to an attorney, and then have the attorney be the point of contact.
That's what I'm doing today. It's just, I let them kind of get their emotions out on me, and I'm like, listen, you can be mad at me. There's nothing I can do, but it just kind of is weighing on my shoulders so much because it
is because you're a good person and you're a good human being. However, right, you can't take that burden on and the responsibility of other people's actions. And this is why people have such a hard time or so stressed out in real estate. Not caring and detaching yourself from the outcome are two very different things.
And I think that's what the listing agent's doing.
Yeah, there's nothing she can do, and she's moving on. So yeah, well, that's it. Copy her
the house.
Yeah, copy her manager in a couple of emails, and you'll see things get a little different. And let us know how it goes. But detach yourself from the outcome. All right, everybody. I will see you tomorrow, and we're going to continue our buyer scenarios and dialogues. So good luck, everybody. Keep sending those messages. I love you all, and mañana.